account reveals that long-term Bitcoin holders could be looking to pile back into the world's biggest cryptocurrency. Take a look at this chart here, guys, which I'm going to break down for you guys. If you appreciate this type of content, smash up the likes. Do not forget to subscribe, guys. As you can see in this chart, we've got some really important lessons. If you guys aspire to be some of the biggest crypto investors in the world, you need to learn fundamentally how to act like the best investors. What are they doing? Now, you've heard some of the common sayings, right? We need to buy when others are fearful. We need to sell when others are being greedy. Well, this is a perfect illustration of exactly that. What you're seeing here in the black line is the Bitcoin price. The purple lines are the long-term holder supply. Now, I want you to look at a very important moment in January 2024, which was, of course, the spot ETF hype. What happened during the spot ETF hype, guys? The average layperson, we covered this off, I was making videos, the average layperson was FOMOing into Bitcoin, getting excited for this Bitcoin ETF. The long-term holders understood that, yes, and I said this in my videos, medium to long term, the ETF is great for Bitcoin, but short term is not necessarily good because you're going to get the buy the rumor, sell the news. So take a look at what they did. They used that opportunity to start selling. If this was the number of Bitcoins they were holding, look at how the supply drastically fell from 15.8 million down to these levels of 14.6 and below. In other words, they sold into the price correction from 45 down towards 39. But then something else happens. They sell even more aggressively. So this was just the original dump, right? Look at these dumps here. They sold even more aggressively as Bitcoin went on its journey towards 73 and created its new all-time high, which again shows exactly what we know theoretically, but we find hard to do, which is sell when others are getting greedy. So when everybody was greedy at 73 and 74 and shouting out random numbers like Bitcoin's going to 250,000 because they're a moon boy, the long-term holders were secretly trimming some of their profits, waiting for what? Of course, a pullback. And so now we're seeing this pullback. We've already seen a bit of a correction. I mean, if we jump onto the Bitcoin price and take a look at what we've seen so far, we've seen a little bit of a pullback. If we take the percentage move, what is it we've experienced to where we're at now? It's about 16, 17%. Now already you've seen the impact that's had, right? Fear and greed index yesterday was at 30. Today it's kind of rebounded a little bit to 46, but we're in fear now. And so what these long-term holders are understanding is that, wait, when this pullback happens, we'll start accumulating some more. And you can see just how it's starting to, just behind my head, let me move me out of the way, just here, it's starting to notch back again as they're buying some of this fear. But the pullback zone is all the way down here at 45k and then even lower at 39k. If we get down to that 39k level, that would be a 46% pullback in Bitcoin. And guess what's going to happen there? It's not rocket science, is it? Those long-term holders are going to come back. They will come back and they will take their money off exchanges. And I've shared that on Twitter as well. There's various charts and stats showing that the money, the Bitcoins being bought now, the money being allocated to Bitcoin now, those Bitcoins are not just sitting there on an exchange. They are being funneled away off exchanges. They're being put onto cold wallets, right? They're being put onto Trezors and ledgers. Why? Because these long-term holders have no intention to sell very quickly. They take their time. They're not day trading, they're not swing trading, right? They want to hold their Bitcoin for at least a couple of months. So when you're looking at this, you need to understand that these big fish are waiting for these pullbacks, and make sure you're not being the exit liquidity. Make sure you're not the one foaming in at 73. I know it's easier said than done. Make sure you're not this guy up here buying at 73 when they're offloading all their bags, and then they'll buy those exact same Bitcoin off you at 39k because you're going to panic. You're going to buy at 73. You're going to lose 46% of your portfolio down at 39. The experienced guys will come buy it. They'll take the ride up towards 100k, and they'll start trimming their profits, and they'll repeat the damn cycle. What are we going to learn? Hopefully we gain some wisdom, we start learning that. The other chart I wanted to share with you was the following, which I found very, very interesting. You're looking at a 4-week Bitcoin chart here. And if you look at the previous top that it created a high, it came down, right? And people now thought after 1,176 days exactly that, oh no, we're going to fall over. We're just repeating the same thing. we create a peak, we've been falling, we've been consolidating here for 1176 days, and again, we see the same point. But what's more interesting, and this ties in perfectly with the peaks and troughs we're seeing on the RSI indicator as well, which is very interesting. I mean, take a look at the RSI indicator. It's called the tops and the bottoms, right? Called the top there, red with red, green with green. These greens were the nice buy opportunities, right? Buy at the bottom of the RSI. I'm going to link up an RSI trading strategy here for you guys. It's a super effective trading strategy. And speaking of which, if you guys want to trade with me and see the altcoins that I'm trading live in the market, ijazcrypto.com/TG is where you're going to do that. I'm hitting take profits, I'm getting spot profits, and I'm taking some of those profits and reinvesting it into long-term DCAs. A lot of you are stuck because you don't have any money left to buy the Bitcoin dip. Even if Bitcoin fell to 39K today, you don't have any meaningful money to buy. So you've got to get your cash flows right. And one way you can do that is by learning how to trade. I'll teach you how, links in description. So you can see this is calling it nicely. I want to bring your attention to the blue dot here. At this blue dot here, people were worried that we're just going to fall over. They thought that RSI had topped out and it's going to start coming back to the downside, but it had some more left, right? It pushed for another leg up, and that ended up being the peak at RSI and the price. Then you got another pullback. Similar could be said here. A lot of people are thinking this is just going to curl over now and head to the downside. But there is a chance that after a bit more consolidation, it jolts back up and creates another higher high, which is something you're going to want to look out for as well. So just to reiterate, what is it I'm doing in this market? I know it could be confusing for a lot of people. I'm not worried by this pullback whatsoever. It's a healthy pullback into the weekly EMA ribbon here for Bitcoin. I don't mind it. Already, you're starting to see the bull step up. Look at that wicking candle here during this week. Now, this candle has another 4 days left, right? So still lots to play for on this weekly candle, but already you got a wicking candle showing that initially the bears pushed the price down, but then the bulls started to push back in. Again, if you want to learn these candle patterns and what they mean, I teach it all in my TA curriculum. So if you want to learn that, ijazcrypto.com/TA, there's a lecture on every single one of these EMA ribbons, the RSI, the Fibonacci, what's a doji candle. All of that stuff you're going to learn in a structured way, and you get lifetime access to it as well. So for me, buying this dip is what I'm doing, right? I want to buy the dip here. I'm going to buy the dip if we fall further down. And if we even come all the way to the depths of the EMA ribbon down towards 50, that is my game plan to buy Bitcoin and the altcoins which are lacking in my portfolio. If you want to see which altcoins I'm looking to actively buy, you need to watch my video from a couple of days ago. Again, I'm going to link that up for you guys to go watch it, because you need to have a game plan. You can't just be like, oh, when Bitcoin falls, I think I'm going to buy. No. When are you buying? At what price are you buying? Do you have it jotted down on a post-it note? Do you know which altcoins you're going to buy at which price? Because otherwise, we've seen it time and time again in crypto. The market dumps and you just panic. You get caught up in this frenzy and you panic and you don't execute on the game plan that you should have had. And then you have post-dip regret where you see the 10% day the next day and you're like, oh man, I knew I should have bought the dip. I got caught up in my feels. I got caught up emotional when everybody else was emotional. And it's because you didn't have a plan. You didn't separate your emotions from what you're going to do. Very important as an investor or trader. And hopefully what I shared with you today in terms of what the whales are doing gives you a reality check of, look, if you want to be in this space, treat it like a professional. There's two leagues of people here. The average retail trader and then somebody a bit more sophisticated and experienced. You can all become that. There's a new investor born every single day. But most come into crypto, take an L, get a 46% drawdown like I just shared with you, and leave crypto and call it a scam. The others that persevere through, gain the stripes, learn the lessons, right? And they become a really strong long-term investor. Which do you want to be? Hopefully you found this useful. If you like this type of content, smash up the likes. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.